So, what is failure? So, I remember years ago when I was playing golf competitively, I topped my first tee shot and it was super embarrassing. I'll never forget it with my 3 wood. Believe it or not, when I finished the round, I ended up placing in first place in my group. So, failure really is an event. Welcome to Tuesdays with Tony. Today, I want to really explore that really failure does not define you. It really, truly just is a singular event that happens in the timeline of life. And what I remind myself is that really, when something happens, we truly don't know if it's good or bad. There's a story that I liked that I read in a book a while back, and it indicated that this person was getting ready to walk across the desert and laid their boots out to the side and came back and noticed that an eagle had picked up the boots and taken them away. Basically, this person was really upset because now they had to walk across the desert, barefoot on the hot sand. But come to find that the eagle was trying to get the poisonous snake in the boots. So you really don't know if something truly is good or bad, and we're going to use that same train of thought to think about it when we encounter failure. Now, I remember my senior year in high school at Nashville High North that my guidance counselor at the time told me because of my SAT scores that I wouldn't pass college, right? Because I had pretty much failed the SATs, that somehow or another I wasn't going to do well in college. And I'm not going to lie, the SAT testing experience was quite miserable for me. I remember going to, this high school, I think it was in Manchester, and sitting down for hours in this like crappy desk. And it was just a miserable experience. I remember getting to the reading portion and I couldn't even focus on the reading. I was so nervous about the time and everything else about it that I ended up guessing B, C, D, and A, and it really didn't even matter to me at that point. And so I went to college and I ended up earning my Bachelor of Science in Material Science Engineering. So after I earned my undergraduate degree, I decided to pursue a Master's of Science still in Material Science Engineering. And at some point, I realized that it really just wasn't for me. I didn't really like the research. I loved the courses and decided to drop out. Knowing that would be a forever mark on my resume, I just said to myself, I didn't want to do this, and I'll just live with the consequences. So here's another point in my timeline where I actually interviewed at a particular company. They noticed that there was a gap and they asked and they said, "Oh, well, why did you drop out? Do you consider yourself to be a failure?" And I was literally asked that in an interview, that they were wondering if I considered myself a failure. And of course I said no. I didn't get the job, but probably a good thing that I didn't go work for that company. But once again, failure is just an event because I've gone on to not only build departments from scratch, different processes from scratch, get them accredited through aerospace and customer approvals. I've managed multi-million dollar projects. One time when I was a manager in Ohio, I had a budget of I think it was like $30 million a month that I had to manage in terms of my area, accounting for the incoming raw material to use for the process. So I really don't think that me dropping out of that graduate program truly defined me. Yes, did I make mistakes? Could I have done better? Could I have, fought through the times where I didn't want to do the research? Sure. But there is that sort of balance sometimes of how do you know if something is going to be good or bad, right? Go back to that story of the eagle taking your boots away. You could be so ticked off that this is going to be the worst day ever, but come to find that, yeah, there was a poisonous snake in the boots, so good thing you didn't put them on. And this takes me back to my origin story. And I encourage you as the listener, the viewer on this video, to truly think about yours because it really has helped shape why I do things. And so basically when I don't remember the specific age, it was probably 10, 11, whatever it may be. And I remember being on a very competitive soccer team. And I remember the coach calling me out on my shot. So I had a very weak, not very technically sound kick in soccer. I was sort of embarrassed by it, and fortunately, my dad recognized that, oh, he's still, his son Anthony wants to still work on this and get good at it. So he built me this awesome wall in our backyard, and for hours and days I would practice. Later in that season, I ended up having one of the top shots, and then was future picked for different kicks and, corner kicks and things like that because I'd worked hard at it at my home trying to perfect it so I could use it in the soccer game. And so I've carried that with me all throughout my life. When people tell me that I can't do something, when people tell me that I'm a failure, it actually sort of motivates me. And it brings me back to the thought that passion really isn't all this flowery crap of go out and feel good and, try to work at things that you love. To me, passion is like that grit to the oyster, and it makes the pearl, right? So the oyster's like, what is in me right now? It's got this piece of grit, it's working at it, and over time, it's polishing it into this pearl. And that truly is how I see things today. I get this little grit from somebody. Maybe it's somebody telling me I'm a failure. Maybe it's my guidance counselor telling me I won't pass college. Maybe it's even me saying that I'm going to drop out and knowing that I need to light a fire under me, because when I did drop out of grad school, I ended up going back to grad school for psychology and earning my master's. And right now, as some of you know, I'm further pursuing my PhD in industrial organization psychology. So remember that success is not about good luck, it's good skills. So the skill today that I want you to think about, and for me to continually think about, is what is that origin story? So your story that you tell yourself, how do you overcome these different obstacles that you face in life? And with that, we'll see you next time. Thank you.